Hi, this is Jerry for ChallengeLifeBetter.com. I want to throw out a theory to you that came across my desk the other day. I'm very interested in ancient history and that kind of thing. I found something that I think is curious, and that is that our circadian rhythms are how we function when we know it's night or know it's day and that kind of thing, that it turns out that our circadian rhythms are a little off, and that means every single human being on the planet has those circadian rhythms a little bit off. And I thought this is strange. It was referring to an article written in the late 60s regarding spelunkers and people who had been underground for as much as 2 to 3 weeks in their explorations. This happened in China, it happened in Mexico, the United States, and also in France at that time, where there was a lot of explorations of massive caves, and people would go down for a week or 2 or 3 at a time. And what was found in almost every indication was that after a while, without watches or anything else, and no indication of day or night, that people fell into a 25-hour circadian rhythm cycle. Well, our cycle on this planet is 24 hours, and it seemed very odd. And after that information was published, scientists began to look into it, and they found that yes, indeed, in controlled studies later on in the 70s, that we do seem to have a 25-hour cycle. Now, that is very, very interesting, and I would reference that to the possibility that at some point in history, our planet was subjected to some kind of celestial problem, and that is perhaps another celestial body came by and imparted a bit of energy into the rotation of our particular planet. And where we were at 25 hours, we became a 24-hour planet, and that is entirely possible. The other thing that I found interesting was the discussion about SAD, as it is a seasonal adjustment disorder, and probably 20 to 30% of all human beings also suffer from seasonal adjusted disorder. And that's the kind of thing where maybe you feel like in November, in that particular time when the days become shorter and shorter, that you just want to curl up on the couch until March. You just don't have any energy. My wife and my daughter both are people who have this seasonal adjustment problems. My daughter more than my wife. I don't seem to have it at all. So for my daughter, I built her a light rack, which hangs in her home, where there is about 500 watts of light that she can turn on at 6,500 Kelvin. That's equal to sunlight. She can turn that on as soon as she gets up at 5 in the morning, and later on, the rest of the day, she feels like her day is actually longer, more like June or July, and that's helped her a whole lot. Now, the interesting thing about what I said at first about a catastrophic event was we know there was a catastrophic event. We just don't know when, because our planet is laying at 23.5 degrees off vertical, and most planets are standing vertical. So if we were in a situation where our planet was going around the sun in a vertical fashion, the idea of seasons would be a place, not a time of year. I really came headlong into that physically when I took a job as a consultant in Ecuador a few years ago, and I found that on the equator, every day is in fact 12 hours, and it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. I had a little fun with that because I saw a number of gardeners, and I spoke with them, and they had corn that was being harvested. They had some that was half mature, and some that was being planted, and there was no season. I actually asked an individual, do you have seasons? Well, he knew what I was talking about because he had lived in Chicago, and he explained to me what that was like. But he said, "Oh yes, we have we have all the seasons every day. So he said, but I felt like a man from another planet when I went to Chicago, because it got cold and then it got warm and then it got sort of warm and cold and then it was very cold again. And he was describing the precession of the seasons, which he had never experienced in living on the equator, which was kind of interesting. And I recently had a husband and wife who visited from there, and she couldn't believe how long the day was, because even at this time in April of 2018, the days are getting much longer than the nights. And so it's a very interesting thing. So we would not have seasons had our poles not be tilted. Now, what has this got to do with anything about challenging life better? Well, if you know that you're losing a little bit of energy from a circadian rhythm of being 25 and it's actually 24, it's almost as though you're in a perpetual situation where you've jumped a couple of time zones and you're always trying to catch up. So our takeaway from this would be, no matter how healthy you are, you need to maintain a little extra effort in maintaining your health, because apparently our bodies are a little bit out of sync. And that is almost like somebody that stays up at night playing some kind of video poker, and then at the end of the week and the weekends they think that they can sleep and make up for it, and that doesn't work. So if we can adjust our seasonal adjustment disorder with light, and we can actually improve our management of our time a little bit better, and we won't feel like we're always dragging, no matter how good health that we're in. So I want to add one other thing that's just on the edge of curiosity. Mars has a 25-hour day. So go figure, whatever that means. This is Jerry. Challenge life better. Be well.